One family bridges two worlds through shared book reading, creating a colorful language adventure. I'm Dr. Emily Sherwood. If you're interested in education policy and literacy from a global perspective, please like and subscribe. So today I'm going to be telling a story from my research, my dissertation research. I graduated in 2019 from the University of Tennessee, and my specialty is in reading. And my degree is in teacher education. And my dissertation was about culturally and linguistically diverse families, Spanish-speaking families who have had successful readers in English language schools. So in other words, in schools where only English was taught and students from other language backgrounds in general, a relatively small proportion of the student population. And so today I'm going to tell the story of the Jimenez family. And that's not their real name, but they were a family in suburban Tennessee, but to a school with very low percentages of English learners, of minority students of any kind. The school was largely white and middle and upper class, and the family was Mexican-American, very low levels of education. Neither parent had graduated from high school, although the mother did go back and get her GED. So this family had 4 children. They had 2 very small children, and then there was a middle schooler and a high schooler. And the middle schooler was 10 when I met him. He was in upper elementary school then. And the girl was, we call her Myra, the girl was 16. Manuel was the 10-year-old. And then there was a 4-year-old, we're calling him Miguel, and a 2-year-old we'll call Rosa. So 2 boys and 2 girls. And in this family, the family basically lived and breathed books. English books, Spanish books, bilingual books, any kind of books. They were really, really into books. And this family story is a bit interesting because the mother worked part-time at a community organization as a preschool teacher, but she was largely at home with the children. But the person providing the most of the educational support for the younger children were the 2 older children, particularly Manuel, the 10-year-old. So Manuel would spend whole mornings reading to children. And when Myra was young, she did much of the same thing with Manuel. So in this case, the family really does not meet what most people would consider norms with shared book reading, which is reading to children. And I'm going to talk about that in the next video. But there's this idea in the United States in particularly, that there's a certain way that you should read books to children, and that parents in particular should read books to children. It has to be the parent. It has to be sitting in the lap. Children will sit on the lap, and there has to be this interaction. You have to ask children questions. It has to be very interactive. There's this structure of reading to children. And there's actually not. And this family shows that because both of the older children were very successful readers, and they largely learned how to read by reading to younger children. So in this case, they took what they know, which was their schema, and it was mediated. In other words, they used literacy events, which are things that happen in the home with literacy. So that mostly included reading to small children. That was the big thing for this family. And then that led to success based on school norms. So they did not use the traditional culture that's kind of expected in middle-class America and in early education programs and schools. There's this idea of that the parents have to read to children. They adapted that to something that worked for them. And so this family is really a success story. But especially the older children were doing really well. The girl at that time was going to a special school that she had to apply and get into. Very academically high. Everyone in the family was doing really, really well. So this is an example of how a cultural practice does not have to be avoided or totally done away with or changed to meet middle class expectations, particularly at school, about what children should come to school prepared at and what parents should do. It can be adapted so that the culture, it can be adapted to the child's culture. And in this case, that was done mostly through siblings, and that's something that you see in a lot of culturally linguistically diverse families, are that parents are parents are very important, and they're very supportive of their children. But also it's other family members, grandparents, siblings, aunts and uncles sometimes are very involved with education. So if you are a teacher to students who are learning English or who come from different cultural backgrounds, this is a really common thing. So it may not be that the parents themselves are doing a lot of the work with literacy, and maybe other people in the family that are doing the work, but it still works. And it still leads to success. So this is something that should be nurtured by schools. The idea of using the culture and things that work for the family to enhance literacy at home. And unfortunately, there's this idea in education that every family has to do things the same way. There are even parent educators to teach parents how to do things, but you can do it your own way and it still works. So if you're a parent out there who maybe is from a different culture or has a different way of doing things, keep on doing what you're doing and you'll get results. You do not have to do things exactly the way that society expects to have good results with your children. So that's all today. Tomorrow I'm going to be talking more about shared book reading, and so I hope you join me then. If you're interested in literacy, please like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.